Hey guys, Jake Mace with JakeMace.com, freezing in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, back here with Jesse Enkamp, the karate nerd. Thanks again for training with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, my pleasure.
We were talking a little bit about wanting to make a video about some of the vulnerable points, the pressure points, or the nerve center strikes that a karate person looks to hit when they're fighting.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something that is super important if you do traditional martial arts, or karate in this case, right? Because in modern competition or sports karate, you should only hit like safe zones, because it's supposed to be a sport and everyone should be able to do it, right?
You're supposed to win by points.
Exactly, exactly. So looking at the old school practice of karate, it involved a lot of these dangerous points or zones in the human body, anatomically weak locations, and we call them kyusho in Japanese.
Oh, there are many hundreds of these points.
Yep.
But we might talk about 5 or so right now?
Yeah, exactly, because it might be difficult for the viewers to remember all of them, right?
Or to stay here for 3 hours while we talk about all of them.
Exactly.
Use me as your stunt double, as your dummy.
Okay.
And show me on my body where you would hit.
Yeah. So, starting from the top, one of the most common ones, and this is used for a knockout, so I don't really want to hit you with this because you're kind of a nice guy, right? You're not a thug.
But if I was a thug with this beanie, maybe with my hoodie on.
Maybe I'll make an exception.
A little more thug-like.
Right, so the first one is actually right here by the temple, on the side, just between the eyebrow and the ear, right? And this is something that you might see if you look at, sometimes if you see an MMA fight or a Thai boxing match where there's some striking involved, you'll see somebody kind of hit or slip and kind of miss almost off of the head. So my strike, my kick, whatever, just slides off your head, kind of bumps, but I still knock you out. And that's the reason is because you're going for the temple and not the jaw, which is like the usual knockout point in combat sports.
So the temple is your first point.
Exactly. So starting from the top, I would go first with the temple as a classical knockout point. But don't try this at home because it's super dangerous.
Under the supervision of an instructor, we train this in the dojo. Exactly.
And we train this by having self-control, basically. Yeah, that's the main point. And this is something we in Japanese call kime, to be able to stop your attack just at the moment of impact for a split second before you actually make contact.
Like creating that snap.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what you need to have if you practice this, unless you really want to actually knock out your friend, right?
And then in real life, if your life was ever threatened and you're doing self-defense, go the extra little distance to hit for real.
Exactly, that's the point. Yeah.
So what would be the style of hand positions or strikes you would use to hit the temple?
Yeah, so for the temple, I would personally prefer perhaps the shuto, the sword or knife hand, because you want to use soft parts of the hand for hard parts of the body and hard parts of the hand for soft parts of the body. That's like a basic principle.
My teachers in traditional Kung Fu taught me the exact same thing with the exact same words.
Whoa, that's
yin and yang.
Exactly.
Hard goes to soft, soft goes to hard.
That balance, yeah, exactly.
So this would be considered a hard or a soft part?
Yeah, I would consider this a hard part. Yeah, exactly, because it's so thin. It's right by the skull. Yeah. So I would use my shuto, this part right here, because it comes in from the side, right? Instead of going straight, because if I want to go straight, I would use my shote, the palm strike, right? But then I would have to be on your side, right? So if I'm standing in front of you, I would do something circular, like this one right here. Bam.
Maybe even a palm down from the cross.
Exactly, it could be from here, or let's say you attacked me, I block, I'm here, I would go this way instead, right?
Or with this one, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Bam, bam. Yeah, for the temple.
What do you have for us for the second point?
Right, so the second point would be my classical knockout point that you see all of the strikers and boxers aiming for, which is basically the chin right here. So, and it might be difficult just to hit this chin right there, so you can imagine like a triangle going from here to the mouth and then down to the chin. Anywhere within this triangle is a good surface to try to strike if you want to create that brainstem twist to knock them out.
Right, and that's what it is, the brainstem twist.
Exactly, because once you get that punch right on the jaw, or the strike, or the kick, or whatever, your head will spin so fast that your brain can't really make that connection, and you get that blackout.
Like the brain hits the skull.
Yeah, exactly. That micro impact is what causes you to get knocked out.
Kind of like having an egg inside of a carton, and the egg gets broken.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
So what would be some of the hand positions you would use to deliver this strike?
We call this a shote. Can you see that? It's kind of dark right here. Yeah, exactly. So I'll go with this one for the jaw. Yeah, slightly from an angle from below to cause your head to spin even better.
Okay, number 3.
Number 3, if we continue down on the human body, would be the throat, right here. If you feel on yourself here, it should be soft. That's kind of the spot you want to go for, that cavity right there. And this is something that you would actually put pressure on instead of striking or hitting immediately. Let's say you were choking me or something, trying to attack me. Yeah, what I could do is try to get my shoulder on the inside to kind of extend my body, and then I would just simply push down with my fingers, this type of motion, right? And try to push myself away like that.
It's just painful.
Yeah, it's super painful.
It feels like a cramp.
You get that cough reflex if you push hard. Yeah.
I think I might have a death in 3 days from now.
My bad.
What kind of training would you do to strengthen your fingers up?
So traditionally what the old karate masters did, they would have a bucket full of pebbles that they would be striking this way. And they also have this kind of post made of bamboo with a straw around, and then they do the nukite, the spear hand thrust into that bundle of bamboo. Yeah, those are 2 classical methods of developing your finger strength.
Promise me if I come visit you and your dojo in Sweden, we'll do some of these trainings.
Yeah, for sure.
In traditional Chinese Gong Fu, we call this the RN20, that's the number, and it's called, the translation is the suddenly heaven.
Suddenly heaven.
Because when you hit somebody there, they suddenly go to heaven.
That's funny.
Yeah. And the 4th point.
So the 4th point, now we're moving from the Jodan, the high level area, to the Chudan, the mid level area. So this is a classical target for when we do straight punching in karate, because usually, if you've noticed, karate punches are generally done in this low kind of area. We don't really punch the face that much unless you're doing the sport version of karate. Yeah, but without gloves, we usually go for the soft parts of the human body, using the fist, the seiken in Japanese. So basically, for the midline right here, just below your chest, maybe we can open up and flex those abs. With the throat, right? It was kind of soft, so if you try to push on yourself, you can feel that cavity right there. And that is what you want to aim for, which hurts a lot.
So maybe, I don't want to speak for you, but since this is a soft area, you might be using a hard part of the body, like a fist for this one.
Yeah, now you're perfectly correct. And this is an area that actually Bruce Lee liked going for with his type of Wing Chun chain punch, right? Because according to him, this kind of area here on the lower part of the fist, he believed was the optimal tool to use for this specific target right there, because he thought the actual whole fist would be too much or too big to fit into that opening.
And yesterday when we were training together on the ocean in Amsterdam, you hit me with an elbow right there.
Right, exactly.
That was very effective because there's not a lot of abs there. It's just the solar plexus has no kind of body armor there.
Exactly, and that is why it is a Q-show, an anatomically vulnerable point on the human body.
What are some of the trainings you do to strengthen the bones in your fist to make it stronger?
So to make your fist stronger, again, there are many types of ways to do it traditionally. One that you might see on the internet, for example, is known as the Makiwara. It's a striking post. So it's a wooden post that you can attach to the wall or to the ground. And wara is the name of the straw that goes around it. And then this is what people in Okinawa, the birthplace of karate, would be hitting thousands of times each day with their fists to make them hard.
Because your bone can be trained just like your muscle can be trained.
Exactly, yeah. And there's, I mean, a lot of boxers, for example, they fracture their fists all the time because they're not really doing that type of conditioning for their knuckles, since they only wear the big gloves.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, Jesse, for this video, the 5th and final point.
So the last point I want to talk to you and your audience about is specific to a kick we call kingeri. So this kick exists only for this target of the human body, and it is the groin. Meaning, so if we're fighting and you're kind of in this wide stance, that's such an easy target for me to kick to. I don't need a lot of power, so I don't need to use my back leg, which would take more time, but I can actually use my front leg and just kind of whip it up there.
You're looking for speed and maybe the element of surprise.
The element of surprise, and this is what we call a atemi, a strike to set up another strike, right? So this would not be a finishing blow, right? I would go bam, 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 for example, or go for a throw or takedown.
Absolutely. Yeah. What are some of the things you do every day to train your kicks to become faster and more accurate? Yeah,
actually, to train my kicks to become faster, I prefer using the agility ladder. So I do this type of plyometric exercises
like
with
an
fast
American
stepping.
football player.
Exactly, and it doesn't matter really what sport or martial art you do. This is something that will help you with leg speed and footwork no matter what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is fantastic, and I hope that people out there realize that these can be potentially dangerous spots to hit.
Absolutely.
So you also want to train some discipline and self-control along with these points.
Yes, exactly. And that's why self-protection leads to self-perfection.
That's great. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I've loved meeting you and training with you, and please check out all of Jesse's YouTube, Instagram, and website down below.
Thank you.
And I do need to come to Sweden and train with you, so that'll be a lot of fun in the future.
You are so welcome. Thank you, guys.